Next thing I want to cover is there was an article in Futurism, and it was asking, is AI making us dumber? And there was some study that was conducted that talked about how AI was making people lose critical thinking skills. And I'll say this. So I think the internet as a whole is making people lose critical thinking skills. And I think that's been going on for quite some time. And I mean, I know just me personally, I can tell you right now, I mean, how often do you search for something and Google comes back with the result and it's the featured snippet? The top result is like a bold blue highlighted answer. That's the featured snippet. How often do you search for something? I know this is the case for me. Search for something, that snippet comes up, and you take that word, you take that featured snippet as gospel without checking, without verifying the source of where that came from, and you just say, okay, well, yeah, there's the answer. Now, sometimes that's okay if it's not like an important question, what time is the Super Bowl on tonight or whatever. Okay. But that's the kind of thing where it's not just AI that's making people lose critical thinking skills. It's the very fact that we're presented with information at our fingertips 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we don't ever verify it. And I'm not saying that somehow people are wrong for that. I mean, it's just human nature. You search for an answer, here's the answer. Okay, well, do I trust Google enough to give me the answer? Well, if you do, then you got your answer. But, it's not just AI. The AI thing is definitely adding to the problem, if you will. And I think that will get worse. We've talked before about model collapse, in which we run out of new information to train these large language models on. And so then they have to start training on their own data, which was original training data however long ago. And it becomes corrupted over time, and mistakes start leaking their way into the new training data. And before you know it, the whole thing just falls apart. It just breaks down. It collapses because it's bots talking to bots at that point. And so I don't know that AI is necessarily is affecting people's critical thinking skills any more than just the average internet usage period. But then again, we could really say the same thing about, I mean, look, I don't want to be old man yelling at cloud, right? I don't want to be techno-futurist, cyberpunk, transhumanist lover either. But, so I would assume, like when the printing press came along, oh, well, you didn't go down and talk to, Mr. Jones at the corner, who's the scientist, and ask him about this science question. No, you just went to the book to get answers, right? Or when the radio came around, oh, well, you didn't verify with, the town council about this, thing, this local thing that happened. You just heard about it on the radio and you're just going to take their word for it. You're losing critical thinking skills. I mean, obviously, when TV came around, and movies and things like that, I'm sure people said the same things back then about people are losing their critical thinking skills and they're just taking this media, as gospel. So I'm not so much concerned about that. I mean, it is a concern and it is something to be aware of. But I don't think that this is a new phenomenon. And in my eyes, again, the internet as a whole has affected critical thinking skills for decades now. And so that's just something to be aware of when it comes to content marketing. What we're finding now is that the shift that's taking place in terms of what's going to be the important content going forward. So we're getting away from the top of funnel content, which is your how do you do XYZ content, or, all about XYZ kind of content, your basic generic overview kind of content, stuff that can already be answered by AI, stuff that's already answered by Google featured snippets and stuff like that. And we're looking to get more into personal accounts of things, telling stories from the position of someone who is authoritative on a topic, looking into developing more case study type content that deals with real world examples. And these are basically things that AI cannot replicate. I mean, it can fake it, sure, but it cannot replicate this actual information. And it's information that is not out there on the wider web as a whole. And so, therefore, the thinking is that it's more likely to be surfaced because when you do something like if you're a landscaping company and you put out a blog post about, how to care for your grass in the summer. Okay, yeah, that's useful information. And it would be great for you to send that out in an email newsletter or post it on your social media to your followers and stuff. They would probably find some value in that. However, if you're talking about it just in pure SEO terms, you're competing against every single landscaping company on the planet who's also writing that same kind of content. I mean, Google can't put everybody at number one, right? And so you might, writing content like that, you might be on page, 500 at that point. And then beyond that, again, with AI stuff now, not just because people are searching for content using AI, they're asking those questions of AI. But then we get into how is AI picking up data about your company? And this is where we need to get out to more places. This is where relationships are going to become more important in 2025 and going forward. And when I talk about relationships, I'm talking about digital PR, basically. And at Charlotte Content Marketing, we take a search everywhere optimization approach. That's our SEO, search everywhere optimization, not just search engine optimization. What we want to do is we want to get mentions in relevant places all around the web for our clients and get those tied back in with those entities. We've talked about entities before, but in a nutshell, that's where we're tying your brand, your company to things like your location or your industry or notable things about your company so that it trains the AI, and the AI then knows who you are, what you do, where you can be found, why you're important, why you're special. And so that when potential customers are searching, you and your details are more likely to come up as long as we have trained the AI. We're training the search engines now, and we're telling them about your brand, your business, and all the things surrounding it, all the entities that connect together to make up the spider web of information. And then we want to get that out to as many places across the web. We want to get as many mentions across the web. So anyway, I have gone on for quite some time, a little bit more than I wanted to. But I do want to thank you so much for joining me, whether you are listening here on Apple, Spotify, or elsewhere, or whether you have joined here on YouTube. I do want to thank you for tuning in. And I do hope that you take a moment to subscribe or follow us. And you can also find us on socials, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Instagram, all that good stuff. You can also visit us online at charlottecontentmarketing.com. Email us at hello@charlottecontentmarketing.com, or you can even give a call, and that number is 704-323-6762. We'll be more than happy to chat with you if you have any questions about content marketing in the Charlotte area or the surrounding Southeast region or around the world. Let's see what we can do to get your content on point, on track for 2025 and beyond. So once again, my name is Andrew Rusnak for Charlotte Content Marketing. This has been the Charlotte Content Marketing Podcast. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you next time.